Just giving it a couple seconds. Okay, it's recording. Hello. Atido Hillary Ribbon Porter here, Tamiana Starseed Oracle and Astral Shaman. Kia ko tia ti do da tia da no masa tia do da sia do da jagi awo. What are we doing here? So I'm at home prepping for a market this weekend. Atido da sa tia do da bisiki, going out and doing errands, fixing everything up, collecting all the things. My chair is very squeaky. And so is Rosie. Hi, sweetie. Spirit guide Mama Bear. She's hanging outside the bedroom here. Waiting to be able to come in. She likes to come in when I do these, and I don't really do recordings much at home anymore. I tend to do them at the Star Temple. She gets very activated. Okay. I need to ask them to pause for a second. Which obviously didn't work. So today is the full moon in Leo. So I'm here. I didn't know that they're doing some of the sacred heart codes, transmitting them through. But so full moon illumination, right? Illuminating things. And what's interesting is last week sometime, so I'm not an expert on all this stuff. This is just what I pick up in the passing from Derek, from the things I follow and stuff. But Pluto's coming into Aquarius, right? It's apparently not at its pinnacle. I don't know what the proper word is until November, but it's coming in Aquarius, and it's in Aquarius right now. Okay, to the go. Time that I love Aquarius. Is all about like innovation, shaking things up, coloring outside the lines. I was gonna say coloring outside the box. Couple metaphors put together there for you. It's getting us to step outside the box, to innovate for something new, to change things up, to be like there's wisdom in the ancient wisdoms, an ancient knowledge. But to just cut and paste and cut and paste and cut and paste and cut and paste, we don't actually get very far. We stay kind of in the same place. We maybe, so I'm thinking about herbs right now, but like there's this herb, and let's say like wild cherry bark, it's good for certain things in regards to the lungs and in regards to helping bring down anxiety and all those other things. But then all of a sudden we're like, yeah, and it's expanding my chest. I feel this, like it's releasing that emotional band. Oh no, that's not in the cut and paste, so it doesn't happen. Yes, it does. And that's not necessarily innovating, but it's stepping outside the box and being like, that's what I'm told, but this is what I'm experiencing. That's how we discover things new. It's a curiosity. It's a let's try it this way. Let's turn right instead of left. I used to work with somebody that would take the clothes that they purchased, and they're like, I tried it on upside down and inside out, and look how it looks now, right? Something so simple as that. So that's Aquarian, but then we have Pluto. That's like digging up the stuff. So Pluto's digging up the gold. This is often, well, not this is often. This is what that my camera is just like in and out. I did a video last week, an online, not a video, it was being recorded, but an online gathering. And all of a sudden at one point, all the lights just went. It was so cool. So Pluto brings up the stuff, right? It digs everything up to help us sift the gold out, right? It's bringing up the gold, but there's still a sludge around it. And it doesn't just bring it up and then be like, peace out, we'll see you later. It brings it up and it helps us work through it to find that piece of gold. But it doesn't mean it's comfortable getting there. Think about gold panning, and then the big pan, and there's like silting and the sift, and then get the tiny little piece of gold. They'd be like, wow, because it was so valuable. They had to go through all this stuff to get that. So you often use this acutonics work for digging up that stuff, right? To bring it to light so that it can be processed and healed. But what does this mean? This means over the last week, because when it brings up stuff, it's also bringing up distortions. Think of the silt as the distortion that's around the gold. But sometimes for ourselves, we're like, I found the gold, but sometimes it's just bringing up the distortions in other people to help them find their gold, but their distortions are coming out. Also distortions in the sense of maybe there's some beings in your life that you were like, yes, they're like the image that you had of them or the way that you interacted with them or the way that they presented themselves was a certain way. But then the distortion comes out and you're like, oh, actually that shimmer that has been placed over top of the distortion, that shimmer is sliding to the side. So you're actually seeing the distortion, if that makes sense. Distortion can also look like, it doesn't have to be like huge and crazy and big, but distortion can also look like I was driving home and this person just like pulled across 4 lanes to go into, to turn into this other lane, like on a left-hand turn. And I was like, what are they doing? Like, it made no sense how it was happening, but you could see they were just like, oh, this is just what they do. Like, it was just this crazy. So that's a distortion because it's outside of the norm. That's either of the like, oh, these are some of the rules, which we want to color outside the box to learn new things. But then sometimes you're like, yeah, but that like can be unsafe and doesn't make sense because it's a thing. So things like that. Maybe there's been a lot of like canceled appointments, just, or I sent you an email to cancel that appointment or a text. Did you receive it? No, I never received it. Like things just kind of going slightly sideways. You look at something and you're like, oh, like it's just slightly off. So, but then I'm gonna do my best. I might have to pause. I am recording this, so I might have to pause at some point. I don't know what I ate, but I ate something and it's like doing weird things in my throat. So, we'll just, if you watched my videos before, they just kind of play it by ear. That's what we do, right? Because it's life. So, if you haven't joined a Sacred Heart Codes recording before, so Sacred Heart Codes are the codes that come through that I co-transmit with the Seven Sisters and the other entities that they vet to come through. I don't leave. It's not a channeling. It's a co-transmission. Because sometimes I close my eyes, sometimes I don't. But what's going to happen is I'm going to be typing at the same time. So you might hear some clicking, you might see a little bit of movement. And then once we get to the end of it, I don't know what's coming through. There's no intention for this. The only intention is the codes have been strong. I'm like driving home and the codes are just like, in my car. It's pretty awesome. Waking up, speaking light codes, after I have a pretty wild dream life, lots of healing happening there. I keep looking out the window. There's like some amazing birds. They're like, it's spring. No, it's January. It feels like spring in Victoria. So these light codes will come out at different points in time, and it means that the current is really strong. It means that the vibrations, the frequencies are really amplified. They've been really sassy this week too. It's been pretty entertaining. All sessions this week. Sessions during amplified times within the cosmos are amplified. It's just what it is. The connection to the astral planes is that much cleaner, quicker, more crystalline. It's been pretty funny. So all my sessions this week, the guides have been coming up just being like, hey, like there's some sass going on there. And so it's brought up quite a bit of laughter, which is much needed often when there's so much distortion happening and sidewaysness happening in people's lives, right? So co-transmission coming through me. So I'm going to be typing, not going to be looking at camera because I'm going to pull up my so that I can type. And then I'll come back and we'll read them. Sound good? Sound good? Because that's what's happening. Okay. Let's see what wants to come. I also never know how long these things are going to be. So it's always an interesting. It's an interesting practice and surrender. This is a lot of what happens in session, especially if I'm doing a Sacred Heart Tamiana session and I'm typing transmissions after I've activated the grids and the crystals. In the ley lines. A lot of typing. with the codes coming through. And there's a surrender and a trust in that, but there's a focus for a single being. When we do the healing for ourselves, we are also healing the collective. But this is literally, okay, what's coming in? Like, there's no focus. There's just what's coming in for today, right? So you ready? Where are we here? Okay. Saya, que a coisa tia 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 a tia tia dona sa tia 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 da basiki u do what take it what it do bu ga ba take it go ba do bu tika mama fa from ba basiku oh man tiki tiki ga ai a ta ba ya tika oh ma tiki do no ma tiki ko to ka taka nta ti do ba tika do da basiki do ba tiki da ba Patiki to go idinamatiko to go bu batiki digi o bu de ba de gasiki basiti duduma ide basaki bashutaya the matiki no gotiki o sitidaya Batitoge, Batiketa de Basicas by the Banda, the Baticas, the Basaja de Basu, because it is the Baticas to be Babatica to Basic to give it at the Basiti to Basicia, go set a cat of the mash did the Masakia, a Basic to go sugar to go to Man Papasiki, Ununuma, Ma, a Basicuna Sakia. Ba, till Manzidi go Mascanza, Batico da Matic to go da the Basakia. Basike stebe kamugu o a digi numba aya kia chitagaya tumunda tumo kubaya tumua what the dembaya what you could know o matiki runin tikia died but the tumba is you can know but it got da sakia to da basiki about cosi Basiku the basiki you did the aya I am sukan the basiki go Pagago gatika to go Hanta Kitikataka no Masikitiku to go oa Basika no Tsikan to Bakiki the basketiko on Matikitike. Biu do the dia, but you do the bati you do the Masiki baya my you do the basaki do uts near the markasi at Titaka. Burkotike batiki, bati do the basiki uti do the batikuna taya, kunitikata basa tekitinaya tata. That's it, get go. Bye. Do the baya batiki. Patinana masakia, Ketaka tiki bim bazuka, paratika para the bajaka bomba basikia. Gido the basset did the bahas again, did you message go to the basset to the bombo basset to the zero? I said the basiki or chedaba from a basset to the baba key. Kelka said to the basset, higher key. Get to the boat to get to go, it was Ikataya. You should know Shabbat Sebesiki, but to get the boo, Nasaki, Ndayaki, Baaya. Ushta da basaki, this is a bosati, the dushin and masaki, to dushin da ia ki utsta, ki tomu bo ushta ki. Geotia to the basaki, adununa setikia, bushta sta. Bahungsi tumuchnaya. Huge diet, chiki, it did the baya. You didn't know, no, the basa the bobby, but to get the guy, and the dunanaka got a body did the basaki. This is the matic, got at a job, but it just the ma agi, beauty at the roots at the basket to go at the massacre to go come, get you go to the colors that matiki to do the masiki. Lebasigo to go thinking that basic to go with the tequila takaya. Da basikitu muna makatikia. Kabasikus da manza de nuna masakia. Tidununu quasi zambasunu to the basikita to the basiki do move and the digis the bakasikia. Nambabasatikia. Basush. Nine mo satya no sakit shnai kito chna satya. Himai gaiti no satya no masakya. Yanot siti tabaya. Posita tabaya. Pokosit no masikita kaya. Bah masatya no satya no sakya na tata. Aya tuno na sakya no maya. Taka kita sita tabaya. Tita stone and kita wana saki. Pasikita no shna no shna shikiti aya. Oh, zikita get the baho. Baya bika baka badata takaya. Baki situ no snamaya. Yeah, no no sakita no teka no masaki no. Pikuto no sakita the basikito no masaki soto taba. Basikia. Mm-hmm. Bye no siju rocha ki to no satya maha satya to no saki. Patito nasia cheta tatsaki to the basa chtia. Just gonna fix up my spelling mistakes and weird words to make sure I know what I'm reading. Sometimes it comes out so fast. I used to write my when I was doing Sacred Heart Tamiana sessions, and I used to write everything and then afterwards type it up. So I'd be channeling and writing, and eventually, as much as I didn't want electronics in the session, other than like the music that was happening, um, it just wasn't feasible anymore, like at all, to be typing or to be handwriting because I wasn't able to necessarily read what I was writing, what I had written afterwards, as well as the retyping up was just like taking forever, right? Because sometimes there's a little bit, sometimes there's just a word, sometimes I'm doing more table work, like there's the activation, and then I'm going and translating the light code. Getting the Dabasaka, but sometimes the light code's coming out and I'm doing, even after the activation of the good work, I'm doing more work upon the body with tuning forks, and the energies want some more assistance moving, or there's a blockage in the energies making it through. So then I come in with different tools like the tuning forks and multidimensional Reiki and some astral shaman work, to help shift that frequency to allow the pattern resets. Is it really a pattern reset? Because we're not resetting the same pattern. Hi, I'd like to dissolve this pattern that's hindering me from my life. Okay, let me reset that for you. Like, but we know what we mean when we say it. That's what's so entertaining. Okay. Let's look at the words. So something actually, before I get into that, also, I think I said this, full moon in Leo. So what's interesting about that, and then we think about like people driving or doing something, and they're not conscious that they're not out to get people, but they're just like, oh, I'm doing this thing. It's that focus on self and kind of this obliviousness to what's going on around them with others, right? And then also in the major distortion, which I've experienced some of recently, as well as heard a lot at the Star Temple. I love seeing the themes. Sometimes I don't love what the themes are because I know it's not comfortable for people, but seeing what these themes are of the major distortion, which is again that shimmer of we're about the collective, but then that truth space, not like we're about the collective, but like, let's see here. There's just this I was gonna say dissociation, that's not it. But that disruption that's behind the shimmer of the intentions aren't actually the intentions that the shimmer let other people think that the intentions were, right? So, when you talk to somebody and you're like, oh, their intention was this and it was great and it's going to be so great and all this. And then you find out after the fact that that wasn't actually, it was about them and it wasn't about anybody else, right? So, and really in those situations, what do? We go, oh, good to know. New data. Now this is how I will proceed as myself. And again, how to get through this. To get through this, be in your most crystalline state. So let's dive into the words here because it speaks to that a little bit. Lots of questions this time. So I encourage you to look at these questions. I'm going to see if these will all fit down below in the comments of wherever I'm posting this, on all the places, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever. Yeah, but I encourage you to come back and to do some self-inquiry. I keep saying I'm coming back to you again for a sec. To do some self-inquiry. Write down these questions. Power it up by writing it with your dominant hand and writing the answer in your non-dominant. It accesses a part of your brain that's even deeper than getting into it's basically getting into trance state with your hand. It's pretty wild. The stuff that comes out because you're like, oh, I think of it, and then you go back and read it and you're like, that is okay. Because you're focused on making the letters as opposed to how does the sound, and it is still that what's coming out from here, but it's different. Yeah, it's really cool. So sacred heart codes for today. Who are you? Where did you come from? Where do you come from with all the messages, all the talents, all the communications that you bring to the table? Are they for the all, or are they there for just the one of you? It's okay if there is one that is there just for you, because you need to be present to yourself, honest with yourself, and nourishing and showing up in your own power and presence. But when this comes at the detriment of others, a stepping upon or a taking from others, trying to make what they have your own, or feeling entitled to what is not yours, then, well, there's a problem. This is the issue of coming to the table, holding out your hand with nothing to offer, without the intention to collaborate, and only take. And this isn't talking about, there are times where, as you know, to get you come to the table and you're like, I don't actually have anything. And that's okay. But is that your pattern of, I have nothing to give, that poverty consciousness, where it could be from poverty consciousness. It could also just be from the greed, or that it's only about me. And they said it was by donation, so I could pay zero and it's okay. But you then chose to go out and buy dinner. Not buy dinner as in I went out and got groceries and I had dinner because I'd eat, but yeah, I chose to go out for a nice night on the town. There's that, it's that kind of thing. That's, the Masakai. And when we show up, one of the things we can bring to the table is fully ourself. Do you bring your frequency to be part of what is happening? Even if you're experiencing some anxiety about it, there's a difference between being present there versus I'm here for something. I'm here to take. I'm here, it's conditional, it's when there's all those conditions. Where do you take and where do you give? Why and when do you do each? Are there conditional attachments? If so, why? When do they apply? When did they originate that these were parameters? Bad grammar, it's okay. When did they originate that these parameters were put in place? So when did they originate? When were these parameters put in place? Right? Atino namasaki, otieta do namasaki. Does it have anything to do with the situation, or is this layover from a past that no longer applies? Sometimes we've had a situation where we had an experience with somebody, and then all of a sudden, and it turned out a certain way, and we reacted a certain way, and we had to do a certain thing because of that experience. And then all of a sudden we have a reflection, we have a mirror experience now. Now are we bringing the same, maybe there was animosity, maybe there was whatever. Are we like, oh, it's going to totally turn out like that because it did then? Or are we showing up to this experience as it is? It doesn't mean we didn't gain knowledge from the past experience, but it doesn't mean it's the exact same thing now. So it's really these are the questions about really looking at that. This is the moment of truth and of knowing who you are, how you show up in precision, and how you show up in disillusionment and distortion. I'm going to repeat that one. This is the moment of truth and of knowing who you are, how you show up in precision, and how you show up in disillusionment and distortion. Be honest with yourself. Where are you showing up truthfully? And where are you showing up in a distorted way? And with your own disillusionment too, of maybe, there's that, I'm the best, I'm showing up in this way because you know what? This is how the world sees me, and everything should be given to me. It's a bit of an entitlement thing too. Or I am the one that created that person. It's like, well, my support offered this, you know. So really be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Because if you are not, then others will be, and it likely won't be pretty. This isn't a threat, just a pure observation of the times to come and the clarity that will layer itself over all things that look sideways, that turn in a way that causes someone to tilt their head and take a step back and possibly completely away. Now is the time to hold yourself to the highest standards of the heart. This is the time to hold yourself to the purest state of the being. This is the time to show up as the most luminous human you can muster with the tools you have within you and around you. This is the time to welcome in more tools, more wisdom, more clear paths of thinking to take you to that crystalline state. It isn't an end state. The crystalline state is not an end state. It's not like when you get to the end, when you get to the crystalline state, that you go, oh, I'm done doing the work. I'm done working on myself. I'm done looking at myself. I'm done. I've reached Sandy, right? And maybe it's just that one portion that's crystalline. Maybe it's that one piece that's crystalline. Okay. So it's not an end state. It is a state that still needs polishing and shining and taking care of, because the dust can settle and dull the shine again. Where do you shine and where needs a pick-me-up? Look at these corners now. These are the laces, not the laces. These are the places to live within and to hold yourself in when you feel yourself tilting sideways. So, it's a lot about self-regulation, self-reflection, and being honest with yourself. Are you tilting sideways? Are you in a distorted state? Are you doing something distorted? Are you feeling like, oh, this is what I'm presenting, but that's not what's behind? And we're not talking about just like, oh, I'm learning to become myself. It's more like, oh, this right now is about, oh, what are my core intentions? Are they distorted? Are they of a finer frequency? Or are they really just take me? And there's a difference between self-care and learning to become who you are and having your boundaries versus everything is, I did that because then I will receive this. And this is more, so another layer of clarity. This is more about how our interactions are with other people. Okay. Well, that was light and fluffy. Thing is, the work isn't all love and light, right? We need the love and light. Yes. And also, love and light can't be love and light without darkness. Right? We need that. It's all. You can't ignore it. Can't ignore it. May not be pretty, but it's part of life. So anyways, I could keep rambling on, and they're like, let's do some more. It's a time. Take care of yourself. Do what you need to honor your space, your time, your presence. And I encourage you to do the inner questions, these inner inquiry questions. If you have any questions, let me know. Reach out. If you'd like some one-on-one work, please reach out, virtual and in person available. I'll put all the contact information down below. If you like this video, I should start doing this at the beginning, but I don't. If you like this video and you want to see more, please like. Please follow along. Please share all the things that they say on social media. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up and continuing the journey. Because, like I said, with one of us, when one of us journeys and one of us does the work, it benefits the all. And when the all does the work, it benefits the one. Okay? So much love and stardust. Enjoy the rest of this pretty wild ride. Okay. Bye for now.